Outer Orange.
Bam, previous. Yeah, we are straight on Fuzzy's Twitter. We're gonna go straight into all these. Let's go again and get started. We had the Deluxe 2023 top 8 breakdown happen here. We had 3 Maiko, 3 Shiranui, 1 Blueward, 1 training tools. Keep in mind, this is last week's stuff that we're getting to, and then I'll let you guys know once we get to this week's stuff. A bunch of the usual stuff, to be honest, nothing too unusual here. Blueward and Shiranui, all the decks that we've been seeing top. And then this is the top results. Shiranui's been really aggressive. Obviously, the deck's really good. Definitely, I think, stronger than Blueward for the most part. I think it just has the bigger advantage. But Blueward is still really good. And then we have the Maiko and the training tools for the top 4. WGP Season 4, Malaysia. We have the top 8 breakdown. Got 2 Youth, 2 Blueward, 1 Leonor, 1 Jeweled, 1 Orphis, 1 Prism. All very competitive decks. Every single deck on this list is extremely competitive and good for one way or another. Prism is actually still pretty okay. I don't think it's like the strongest deck or anything like that, but it's still very competitive. No Shiranui on this one, but this is what actually, I didn't even know this. This is what first place was. So first place was the Prism. So I guess they just took it all. I would be interested to see the list of this one just to see like if they made any changes versus any other build. But otherwise, we have the Blueward, Youthberg, and 4th place Jeweled. I think people are starting to finally maybe tech around or build around Youthberg a little bit to make it easier. Though it is still a very hard deck, I think, to play into. Melbourne, D and V over here. So it's the standard top 8 breakdown for BCS. So this is, we have the 2 Orphis, 1 Minerva, 1 Freedon, 1 Bastion, 1 Ava, 1 Magnolia, 1 B Hero. B Hero, they are getting support. The support's not active yet, but they are getting support for sub 13, so they're gonna get a little stronger. I think some people just don't expect B Hero and just don't know what to do or how to play into it. And I think that makes the deck have the advantage. Magnolia is actually pretty good. I made a video on it recently, and actually I've been kind of theorizing more about the deck, and I'm like, the deck's actually not bad. I don't think it's like anything like amazing or out there, but I actually don't think the deck's bad. So seeing it perform kind of explains to me. The Ava makes sense since she had it on restriction, and honestly all the decks here are all really good contenders. They're either really good beef decks, really good numbers, a Vanguard centric, or Greedon where it's aggro, Bastion where it has the resist, Ava for a late game, Magnolia for the aggro, and B Hero for like a semi-aggro shield mechanics. And then here's what top 4 looks like. There's the Magnolia in 4th. Did not quite make it through. It is the hand struggles a little bit with this deck, but you know, this can still happen. Seeing B Hero here is actually quite interesting. Then we have the Minerva and the Orphis. I don't play B Hero that much, but I can actually see a world where we actually start seeing results more on this. Keep in mind, like I said, we're not getting collab sets. We're getting the Musha King stuff and stuff, but we're not getting like the new collab sets that JP has. So it's possible that decks like these are going to start showing more results. Since we have less decks that are potent, we also have the Banless active for Gandiva and Ballista. With that being said, it makes it easier for some of the more unusual decks to start showing up, and we're going to probably see more and more of this as we go. This is V Premium, the top 8 breakdown. Everything on here honestly makes sense except maybe the Jet. Armor Break just to kind of deal with the Thavas, I can understand. A Jet's a little unusual, I will say, unless this is MFD Jet, which I don't think it is, but otherwise we have the Highlander, Anj, Thava, 2 Thavas, and Night Rose with the Armor Break and the Jet. Honestly, all very competing decks. And then for top 4, this one was actually shown on stream. I can't remember where exactly it was, but this was being streamed. Kelvin took it all. He ran like all crits in this deck. This is an all crit deck. It's a very aggro, like greedy list, and he just was like, screw it, I'm just gonna go in for the greed, and he won it all with it. Highlander, and then we have the Armor Break and Anj in 4th. I believe this does have the promo now active, if I remember correctly. Actually, I'm not too sure. The promo should be active already, but you know, things happen. This is the Melbourne Premium breakdown. The 2 Narukami, 2 Mega Colony, 1 Bermuda Triangle, 1 Dimension Police, 1 Shadow Paladin, 1 Kagero. All pretty honestly normal stuff. I think the Kagero one would be surprising. Again, this is also streamed, and the Kagero guy just kind of went crazy with it. It was just kind of like, obviously I didn't see all the games, we only saw like a couple, but the one we did see, it was just very aggressive. It is Kagero being Kagero. Restand the Vanguard, just kind of go wild. Everything else makes sense. The Revenge is a little weird. It has like a pop-off turn, kind of similar to the Kagero deck actually, but you know, there are some matchups that are just really brutal for both of these decks, and I just kind of die to sometimes. Narukami, and we have the Revengers, we have the Kagero. What about dragons? I'm looking at a lot of dragons right now. But yeah, we have this is the VSR edition of Narukami. This is, I believe, with the Demolition Dragon, so they went the Demolition Dragon route. Got the Kagero with the Legion. If you don't know, this you can just restand a ton of times. And then 3rd is the regular build Narukami with the Sweep Command, and then we have the Revengers in 4th. France, top 8 breakdown for premium. So we have the Red Blue bugs, a lot of bugs actually. We got the Katrina Maidens and the Nupatama in the top 8 brackets. All very pretty viable stuff. Nothing in here too unusual. This deck's so annoying. I just want to let that be known. Katrina's so annoying. And then this is what we ended on. A lot of bugs. We have the Grand Blue player. This must have been really unfortunate unfortunate. You know, surprisingly enough, there are some very rare occasions where green blue can take the win, but it really just involves around crits and just finding those dragons as fast as possible. But this is a very, very, very tough matchup, I will say. And then this is a pretty tough matchup too, now that I think about it. Katrina kind of folds to Bug. So funnily enough, it kind of was very unlucky how they all matched up into each other. This is the Flagberg version, which is just very aggro. Lots of, you can draw cards, you can call cards, you can restand, do a bunch of little funny stuff. It's just very fast, very aggro, especially under the Mighty power. So this deck just explodes like once it gets onto the stride. It just has to get there. That's about it. Very glass cannon, but strong. WJP, this is season 4 Taipei top 8. So just another, the one thing more unusual here is definitely the Fortia. On the rarer side of decks performing, everything else kind of makes sense. Seeing Chrono Jet still perform to this day is still hilarious to me. And then this is what top 4 looked like. Jet did not make it through, but Leonor did, and Sharanui. And for Tia, I got actually 3rd here. I'll have to check out this list later. And then 4th place was Messiah. This week's results, and obviously Fuzzy was out of town. He was actually at Duluth, like physically there. So because of that, the results got posted basically in the last 24 hours versus normally on the weekend. But this is what the WJP Deluxe Finals Indonesia top 8 looks like. Yeah, the deck's really strong, so this is not too surprising. I think this deck is like the next best stride deck type of thing. I think this took up Jet's spot basically because it kind of does the same thing where early on it doesn't do much, but late game it gets insane. And yeah, that's what this deck is doing. And then this is what our top 4 looked like, which, surprisingly enough, Morphonica did take it all. I think that's really interesting. I'm not too sure how impactful Morphonica is or what it does, but hey, it did beat through all of this, which is very hard to do. So we have the Cardiff one, so this is standard. Got some 2 Bastion, 1 Greedon, 1 Chrono Jet, 1 Ballista, which is actually interesting because this is with the ban list in mind. 1 Overlord, 1 Megalonic Gozuki, and 1 Orphist. And then this is the top 4 for standard. So Alex Wong took it all in 1st place with the Greedon list. And then we had the Bastion come through 2nd. We have 4th the Ballista, which is actually really interesting to see 4th. And then 3rd place is Jet. Jet still to this day performing. Every time I see Jet, I'm like, yeah, it's still strong. 3rd place is still good. It's still an invite. You know what I mean? Like, it's just enough to get through. And then obviously Bastion, even without the Owls performing, and we all know Greedo's doing well. This is a little more surprising. I am kind of interested. We can check out this list real quick. This is with the restrictions. I'm kind of wondering which approach they went. I was gonna say they probably just took out the 1 grade 1, and then they're just running more of the Searcher, just adding more consistency and just including more of the good cards. And then we are running this card right here just to kind of get more gems back to your hand. This is pretty interesting as it just gets you gems without bricking. I always thought this card was good. The issue with this card was that there was a big space issue before, and now we don't have that. I also think this card is actually pretty nice. I was actually playing her for a while just to get Declan out, and if I get Declan, I drew a card. So I always thought this card was actually pretty nice too. That, and then we had the V Premium. We got 2 Aquaforce, 2 Rare Blue, 1 River Triangle, 1 Royal Paladin, 1 Great Nature, and 1 Genesis. I am a little surprised by the Leopold. I think this deck is struggling into the current meta. I think the meta that we're currently in, this meta right here, this Water Nation meta, as one of my friends calls it, is pretty brutal in their own way. Every one of these decks is just really oppressive now, and I think decks like these just have a harder time unless they just high roll like crazy. This deck can just randomly pop off, especially with damage, and just kind of murder you if you don't open a Heal Guardian. But if you do open a Heal Guardian, this deck can still kind of murder you, but it still pokes. It usually still hits over 1 Heal Guardian or 1 defensive, but it has a way harder time, and its hand is rough. This deck just is really bad going 2nd, in my opinion. I think the minute this deck goes 2nd, it's just, you basically just lose the game. I think I played a Great Nature player during BCS this weekend, and I felt awful. Like, I went first, and they basically started their turn with a 2-card hand. There's not much you can do with a 2-card hand. Federer is interesting as well, just seeing that. And then this is what top 4 looked like, which again, this is surprising. It can happen. I will say this deck going first is stronger. But going 2nd, I think this deck is like, it's kind of like, if you're gonna play a deck, you want to play a deck that, you know, going 2nd you still have somewhat of a chance. And I think Leopold just kind of struggles a little bit versus the other ones. This is Sage, by the way, again performing, getting that 4th place. He's been doing really well with his list, that list that he really likes. With the there's a grade 1 that counter charges, but it has like 3 different costs on it. It's a very weird card. I remember when it first came out, I was like, oh, this card's so cool. And I was like, man, I can barely use this card, but it works for him. So I understand the decision making behind it. It increases space, which grade 1 slots really tight. So it's been tight ever since the set that Night Rose dropped in, and we just got a bunch of good grade 1s, which is the Navigator and the Bone. And then after that, it's just been and Tommy's. So after that, it's been like an issue like finding room in the grade 1 slot. There's just too many good grade 1s, and there's only so many places you could put. This is interesting. I'm a little surprised to see this go so far, but Jasmine took it all. She actually recently posted her list and everything, which is a very interesting list. It was the Tira version of Anj, which I still think is like really good. I think when I was deciding what Anj to build, to personally build, I actually built both the Tira version and the on-hit version. I think they're both really strong in their own ways. I think the Tira version has more shield in it, and for that reason alone, I think Tira can perform better for the shield aspect. I think in terms of high rollness, the on-hit deck is way more high roll, but that also means you have to high roll more. So there's that. Also going second, I think the Tira build performs better just because, again, more shield in the deck versus the on-hit build where you're running more grade 3s, which happened to be one game where I just straight up drew all my grade 3s and I just sat there like, I have no guard. But yeah, overall, really good performance, really good stuff. This is premium. We got 2 Genesis, 1 Mega Colony, 1 Grand Blue, 1 Nubatama, 1 Gear Chronicle, 1 Narukami, and 1 Bermuda Triangle. Again, just a lot of diversity here. Is probably the best way to put this. Just a lot of all good decks, by the way. Just a lot of different stuff, but all good decks. Because even the Genesis decks are different. They're different variations of Genesis decks. That's really cool. Surprisingly enough, the Fenrir took it all. I'm not too sure what Fenrir does nowadays versus what it used to do. If it's changed at all, I'm not 100% sure what the deck is like now. But here we have Kevin in second with Mega Colony, and then we have another Genesis deck, which is third, and then we have the Revere deck in fourth. Here we have Duluth. This is what I was just at. Very big turnout here. Probably the biggest I've seen in a hot minute. But so top 8 looks like we had 2 Orphis, 2 Bastion, 1 Freedom, 1 Gandiva, 1 Zorga, 1 Hexa Orb. Gandiva's the weirdest one in here since it does have the ban list active, but hey, you can still play the game. There's the other grade 3 you can put in. I feel like Gandiva can still perform, just kind of struggles a little bit more now than it used to. So top 4 looked like, so we have the Orphis, which is his name is Long. I kept making fun of him that he's just a lawnmower, but he took it all for top deck heroes. And then we have second, which was Bastion, third with Orphis, and fourth with Hexa Orb. Next we have the V Premium to break down. We had a bunch of I cannot begin to explain just how many Aqua Force, Grand Blue, and Bermuda Triangle players there were. I can't give you a number, but it was a lot. It was like literally the first like 2 tables was like all of the Water Nation. Like it was just all Water Nation. I'm not even joking. I remember like I got out of my seat after one of the rounds, and I was like in the first table, and I was like towards the end though. I got up and I put my glasses on. I'm like looking. I'm like, okay, Thavas versus Anj. Okay, Rose versus Rose. Thavas versus Thavas versus Thavas. Night Rose versus Anj mirror match. Like I kid you not, it was just all Water Nation. And I think there's like 1 Great Nature player at some point. Some other stuff, there was like I think Jewel Knights, and I think there were 2 or 3 Armor Break people. Just they even said they're like, we're just here for evil. Yeah, there were a couple Luars. That one of the Luars at top, there's actually another one that I faced as well that was also trying very hard to break through with Luar. But yeah, it was a lot of this honestly just makes a lot of sense to me. I'm sorry, Luar, you did your best, but these decks are just ridiculous. All 3 of them is probably the best way I could put it. They're all just ridiculous. I say this with confidence. I played some of these people, and then just the aspect of high. Actually, I think I faced this exact guy, and what happened was he was my first loss actually. He opened double Pearl Sisters on turn 2, and I didn't have a heal guardian, and I proceeded to not have a heal guardian the rest of the game. What happened instead is I kept healing, just barely living his turn, but eventually I just died. But yeah, overall really good stuff. Like I said, these 3 decks are insane going first now. God, these 3 decks they're brutal. This is the best way to put it. They're brutal. Here's what the premium end looked like. Also, just really good stuff. There was a Katrina player that almost made it in. I was really hoping she would. She was just really cool. She didn't want to play, actually. She didn't really like the format, but she was doing so well. And she was playing without a Messiah, by the way. She almost made it to top 8 without a Messiah. I thought that was really impressive. You don't see that every day. We had but 3 Narukami, actually 3 different variations of Narukami. What the heck is going on here? I don't know. There's just a bunch of dragons. The Highlander, we had the Eve. Actually, I kept seeing this player next to me. I kept somehow avoiding loop, but literally we sat next to each other like I think 3 or 4 rounds in a row. This was a 9-round premium event, by the way. It was a lot of premium. I was not expecting that much premium. I was expecting maybe 7 rounds. I was definitely not expecting 9. And we have the Royal Paladin, double Royal Paladin here, and NLK and performing, and this was what top 4 looks like. We have Kenzio taking it all, and then we have second place with Logan, and then third place we had the Narukami player, and then we have 4th place with Eve. And yeah, overall I saw all of these players, I think except this one. I think this player I didn't see as much, but I saw the rest. Actually, these 2 I didn't see. These 2 I watched them like because I was circling around these 2 for a while. But overall, just really good stuff. I think everyone did really well, and I think that's it. Yeah, that's everything. I know I kind of sped run a little bit. I was trying to get everything in, and then without making the video like 45 minutes long. But overall, just really good stuff. Obviously I went to BCS Duluth. It was a lot of fun. The event was huge. And we were capped for both days, actually. I think we're even technically over cap at some point. I think we had more players in the room than we were supposed to. Especially day 2, we had like Shadowverse happening as well. We had Vice happening, and we had Premium happening. But yeah, it was very surprising to see that we were like, it's not too surprising because it was closer to the end, but the fact that there was that many people there was very happy. It made me very happy. I expected to be huge. I actually talked to some people and I'm like, I'm really positive that like we're gonna have like a really big turnout, because I just kept hearing people saying, I'm going to Duluth, I'm going to Duluth, I'm going to Duluth. And I was like, man, everyone's going to Duluth. It's like the Puerto Rico part 2, except it's actually real. Lo and behold, everyone did go. We had people from Florida come, we had people from Alabama come, Texas, New York, Washington, Canada, California, it was like New Jersey. It was just there. That's a lot of states. Obviously the Georgia folks as well, like my locals and everything were coming down. And I think North Carolina is another one, South Carolina, like it was just a lot. So very happy to see that people went. People enjoyed it. It seems like everyone had a lot of fun. I personally had a lot of fun. But anyway, so that's all I have. But anyway, peace out, guys. 50$.shop, code orange for all your goodies. Set 13 is dropping this week, so stay tuned for that. I'm excited for Musha King. What are you excited for? Let me know below. Peace out. That's what I know. See you guys in the future video. Bye.